Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
B17. Live in quite a small place in Norway. Been with my girlfriend for 2 months. One day she receives a blocked phone call. Doesn't answer. Calls again. Doesn't answer. Keeps calling. She finally picks up. Loud grinding noise, then hangs up. Stops calling for a while and she goes to sleep. Next day she turns on phone. 38 lost calls. What.jpg. Keeps calling all weekend. Grinding noise, then hangs up every time. Meet up with her one day. Phone rings and I answer. Voice in phone this time. Whispering my name, Anon. Grinding noise, then hangs up. No more calls for the night. Same calling with grinding, then hangs up for the rest of the week. My face when girlfriend changes her number and doesn't tell anyone. Phone rings, same deal. She thinks there must be someone fucking with her. Someone has been calling about 93 times or so now. Everything calms down for a period of time. Be only a couple of days since I was walking my girlfriend home. Not a single phone call all night. Kissing goodbye, I head home. It's a pretty long walk and I see a toad. Pick the toad up and take it to a pond under bridge. Bad idea. JPEG. Hear mumbling voices echoing in walls. Back the fuck off away. Went from light out till dark so fast. Hearing the mumbling all the way home. Outside my house, finally. The voices goes from mumbling to loud talking. In every sentence the voice mentions me. Suddenly get phone call. Blocked ID. Picks up and shout as quiet as possible. Who the fuck is this? No grinding noises, only me shouting. I froze. Realizing the caller must be really close. I'm dead.png. Hearing my neighbor comes outside. Hey there Anon, and takes out trash. Hurry inside. Can't sleep all night. Don't know how long these can be per. Reply. It's hard as shit to write this down because this has fucked me up. There isn't really more to it, but I am trying to find an answer to this. The number is also still calling my girlfriend. This is happening right now. I'll post more if more happens. I won't dare to go outside at the moment.
B17. Live in a rural village in the south of England with my mum and her boyfriend. Hear plenty about local hauntings, never experience anything supernatural myself. House is built on old farmland, always digging up pottery, animal bones. There's a 200-year-old barn between the house and the road. Bottom of the garden is a big forest and river. Had to put up a tall fence to stop deer and foxes getting in a few years ago. Be sitting at home with my mum in the TV room, watching TV. Room has window and patio doors facing the back garden, and windows that face out the front as well. She gets up, walks to the back door and yells for the youngest dog to come inside. Dog's already indoors with the other two. Mum says she thought she saw a black shape like a small dog running across the back garden, thought the dog was outside. The dogs aren't allowed in the back garden right now because there's a rat problem from the neighbor's chickens. We both agree it was probably just a cat. Be home alone one night, a week or so later. Have the 3 Labradors with me for company. The dogs like to sit by the patio windows and stare at the back garden and forest, since they can't go out right now. Tonight leave the blinds open, but they don't go near them. Don't think anything of it. Oldest dog pads up next to the patio doors, sits there and looks at it, then stands and walks out the room. That's weird. Normally he likes to sit by the sofa. Find him curled up in the dog bed, shaking, doesn't want to leave the bed. He's old, but I have a bad feeling about this. Feel creeped out, like I'm being watched. Think I'm probably just being paranoid. Go back to the room to close the blinds. A few feet from them, stop moving. Can't get any closer, it's like my muscles refuse to respond. Outside it's pitch black, can only see the reflection of the room I'm in. All I can hear is the wind outside. Take a few steps back to the sofa. Curl up on the sofa, shaking with the lights on high and the other 2 dogs up next to me. Start to feel a bit better. Not getting the bad feeling from the window anymore. Start to relax. Laugh at myself for being a paranoid idiot. The dogs sit up alert and both turn their heads to the front garden. Jump off the sofa. Start barking at the front door. They're flipping the fuck out like. Get up to let them out. They normally bark if they want to be let out to have a piss. Youngest dog starts running in circles in front of the door and yipping. Can hear the oldest dog growling from his bed. Middle dog is standing with her head down, growling and barking. I'm shaking. Don't want to go near the door. But I don't want them pissing on the floor either. Turn on the outside lights out front. Don't see anything. Quickly open the door. The dogs run out into the front garden. Slam the door shut behind them. Hear them barking, but no yelping or sound of a fight. A few minutes later they come back to the front door, start barking to be let in. Let them in. They seem fine. Older one comes back in and curls up on the floor. Feel fine for the rest of the night. Other neighbor rings up a few days later. They've seen what looks like a black dog running across their back garden a few times recently. What? They checked it out and found a big hole in the wooden fencing between our back garden and theirs. They think one of our dogs got into their garden through the hole. Dogs haven't been out in the garden for more than a week. Nop Ang internally. Reassure them that we'll keep an eye on our dogs until they fix their fence. Start looking at property listings.
I have a story. It's true too. So it's 1998, and I'm a young Irish teenager. My mom has been dating some new guy for a few months now. Let's call him Paul. Paul is a pretty bro guy. He lets me drink and smoke when my mom is not around, and he has a very similar style of humor to mine, so we naturally bond and become fast friends. But something is off about Paul. He has a suspect lifestyle. He comes-goes at all hours. There's always whispered conversations on the phone, and he always has stacks of cold hard cash. In fact, in my mother's room under her mattress is fucking full of cash. I never seen so much physical cash before or since. I initially jumped to the obvious conclusion one would. Drugs. But Paul hates junkies, has no time for them, so I instantly begin to seriously doubt he would push drugs. I try to forget it for a while, but as the weeks go by and the pattern continues, it eats away at me. I have to ask him. I have to ask Paul what's going on, and being a teenager full of stupid ideas that I mistake for bravery, I do just that. Where's all this money from? Where do you vanish for days? What's going on? That's the essential stuff I put to him, and he initially brushes my question aside, tries to avoid it. I keep mocking and prodding at him, saying stuff like he's probably mugging old ladies, or he's some baller pimp. He's laughing, but I can see he's frustrated at my mocking, and indeed it's not long before I break him down. Okay kid, I'll tell you what's going on, but you can never say it to anyone. Not even your mother. I agree to the terms. I can tell it's something huge by the tone of his voice. I occasionally work for a branch of the IRA. I'm a gun runner. Someone brings the guns into a dock by boat. I drive them from the docks up past the border into the north. He didn't expect my reaction. I laughed. I laughed because I was so sure he just spun a story to stop me asking questions. I even told him he was full of shit. Then he snapped back at me. You think I'm fucking messing around, kid? I'm going to give you some advice right here and you'll see how serious I am. Don't take holiday up to the north third week, and certainly don't travel to Tyrone. He stops after that, and just walks off. He was clearly annoyed at me, but surely what he was saying couldn't be true. I refused to believe what he told me. That Saturday in Omagh, Tyrone, a bomb goes off, killing 29 people, including a pregnant woman. It is to be remembered as the worst terrorist attack in the Troubles' history. I remember feeling sick to my stomach. I remember feeling as if I condemned them to their fate. Maybe if I said something to someone, maybe I could have stopped it. Maybe I could have saved even one person. But I didn't. Me and Paul didn't speak much after that. I could never quite look him in the eye. I wasn't scared of him. I was sickened by him. Luckily it didn't last between my mum and Paul.
There's been a whole shitload of minor to moderate creepy happenings, but the one major one I was involved in was pretty fucking weird, but didn't seem malevolent. Up in a woods a few dozen miles from a town named Kalispell. Huge group of friends at a lake I'd found 'bout halfway up a mountain. Water is absolutely crystal clear and there's this pretty neat little island in the middle no bigger than like 50 feet square that's just overgrown as fuck. We've got a bonfire lit before the sun is even going down. Everybody is having a good time. I think I need to take a second to note here that I'm spending most of my time swimming whereas everyone else is chilling around the bonfire. At this point it's starting to get dark and I figure swimming in a mostly unknown lake in the dark is pretty fucking dumb, so I decide to swim back. Sun is just setting over the tops of the trees as I'm swimming past the little aforementioned island. I suddenly hear this weird flapping, buzzing sound from my right by this little island. Think to myself, oh fuck, great. I just pissed off a giant hornet nest or something. And got ready to dive like the little pussy I am when it comes to stinging insects. 2 seconds later there's this really weird little bird checking me out. If I had to describe it, I'd say it looked a little bit like if a hummingbird fucked a peacock. Was a pretty neat looking little bird, actually. Very bright colors and very intelligent looking, for a bird. Flew like a hummingbird. Whoa, this little guy's pretty cool looking. Start treading water to look at it because I've never seen one of these in my entire life. I'm getting the bird equivalent of the Bert stare the entire fucking time. Don't know if want.jpg. Assure the bird out loud that I'm not here to fuck with it, just enjoying the water. Not in any serious way, it was an offhand remark. Same way I ask my dog how his day has been when I get off work. Little bird understands me. I do not know how I know this. Sudden compulsion to touch bird. Extremely strong. Attempt to lift one hand out of water while still treading water to touch bird. Suddenly everyone is screaming at me to get out of the lake. What the fuck am I doing? Oh my god, etc. Weird trance I did not even realize I was in is now broken. I assume there's a bear or something coming to eat me and just start swimming like I'm trying to escape Cuba. Dry land reached with no ill effects. Everyone is still freaking the fuck out. Many people have noped right down the trail back to the vehicles. Nothing is after me. Nothing is attacking. Everything is cool as far as I can tell. Friend of mine named Josh is fucking screaming in my face asking if I'm alright. What the fuck? I'm fine. There was this pretty cool little bird. Would have let me touch it if you hadn't freaked me out. The fuck are you all going apeshit about? It is then explained to me that the second after the sun went down, a giant ball of green light shot out of the middle of the island and started hovering over me. I apparently stopped dead in the water, went slack-jawed and was staring at it like I was hypnotized and talking to it in long strings of nonsense words. Nobody else saw a goddamned bird but me.
Some OC from when I was in the military. Not really skinwalker or whatever we're going for now, but definitely a nope story. Be Marine. B in Army SERE, Survival, Evasion, Resistance and Escape School in Alabama. As it is an Army school, we Marines are the minority. It's like 15 soldiers to every Marine be doing evasion training out in the woods. My team consists of me and 3 soldiers, a second lieutenant, a warrant officer, and a staff sergeant. I have more time in service than the first 2 combined, so I appoint myself as navigator. Been running around for about 2 days now, with no food and basically living off of water. Despite being exhausted and hungry, managed to reach every checkpoint without much incident. Night falls, we're a bit ahead of schedule, so we decide to settle in for the night. Find a suitable clearing and start to set up camp. Warrant officer starts gathering tinder while Butterbar reviews his map and jots down notes and other admin shit. Staff sergeant and I return from nearby creek, having filled everyone's canteens. We try to relax a bit, it's dark out and we're fucking tired. It's getting cold fast, and the fact that we're covered in sweat doesn't help much. We can't build a roaring fire because it would give away our position. Instead, we've got a few smoldering embers that emanate just enough heat to let us sleep. By now, the warrant officer has already been asleep for about 20 minutes, snoring contentedly. We start nodding off, one by one. Close my eyes and drift off. Woken up by the sound of alarmed whispering. Staff sergeant has a crazed look in his eye. Butterbar asks what's going on. You hear that shit? Staff sergeant says in the loudest whisper he can manage. Hear what sounds like a small platoon of people in the distance and closing in on our position. Our thoughts immediately go to the fire. It's still giving off a tiny bit of smoke, so we snuff it in the fastest, quietest manner possible. Warrant officer is still sound asleep, snoring loud as fuck, so staff sergeant smacks him. Sound is getting louder and closer. We're all pretty much positive that we've been discovered. The noise suddenly changes from that of a platoon stumbling through the woods to that of a single large mass crashing its way toward us. It seriously sounds like this thing is sprinting through the brush. We're all lying as flat and motionless as possible, not making a single noise. I remember feeling sorry for my comrades at this point because my uniform actually blended in quite nicely with the environment and they would likely be spotted first. Something crosses my mind at this point. This thing is sprinting through the woods. Anyone who's ever been in the brush in Alabama knows that it is impossible for a man to move any faster than a slow crawl without getting torn to shreds by thorns. Whatever it is, it's not slowing down. In a few seconds, it sounds like it's practically on top of us. Fully expect to start hearing human voices telling us to get the fuck up or someone to start beating the shit out of us. Instead, the noise comes to a halt. No sound for several seconds. I realize at this point that I've been holding my breath, so I slowly start breathing again. The way I'm lying down, my face is toward the source of the noise, but I can't see shit because it's pitch black out. I can fucking feel the tension in my teammates coursing through the dirt. We all seem to be on the same plan, i.e. remain in statue mode and hopes we aren't spotted. Suddenly, our tormentor lets out a low growl and begins audibly breathing. The first fucking thing that goes through my mind is the creeper. It sounds just like the scene when the creeper was smelling the girl to see if he wanted to eat her. You can practically hear our hearts collectively stop. After what seems like an hour, was actually just a few seconds, the breathing stops. Hear footsteps leading away from us now. Just footsteps. No sounds of brush or branches breaking, nothing. Forest goes silent. We all wait at least a minute before daring to move. We've come back to life, exchanging glances while quietly trying to make sense of what just happened. Spend the rest of the night sleeping in 2-man shifts. Graduate SERE about 2 weeks later. Saying our goodbyes after the ceremony, shaking hands and whatnot. Second lieutenant walks up to me and we shake hands before he leans in to speak. His face turns rather stern.
Dude, what was that thing?
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentexts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.